Because you came to Fotheringay from working with Trevor Lucas in a collection.
That's right.
Yeah. And that was after Sandy Denny had left Fairport. When she left Fairport, I read that she left Fairport because she wanted to do more of her own material. And on that album there's quite a bit of her own material, but in your live sets, how much of her material would you have done?
It was mostly her songs. If it was another song, it was just a song that she or everybody loved, you know. It would usually be something like a Dylan song.
Yeah.
But she was very particular about what she did, and she had immense good taste when it came to songs.
So did she mainly choose the repertoire then?
I guess it sort of just all sort of fell into place somehow, you know. We all shared sort of similar tastes in that respect, except Pat and I would go off and do other sessions. We started to get a sort of reputation as a rhythm section, and so we go off and do lots of other singer-songwriters and bring our sort of offerings back to play to Sandy, and she'd either sort of go give us the thumbs up or the thumbs down. You know.
When the two of you work together, there's a really special feeling about what you do. Do you consider yourselves as a unit?
Yes. Pat's very easy to work with. But it's, you know, it's just sort of musicians they typecast themselves as well as everything they do. It's got to be like so and so, or so and so is like flavour of the month musician, and therefore everybody's got to play this lick or that or this or that. And unlike most other situations, with Pat we can sit and work our own little bits which are original. They're not sort of, Jaco Pastorius played this lick, let's get this one in, or it's not that attitude, you know. So it's a nice thing. You feel that you are sort of creating, if you like.
I was listening this morning to Banks of the Nile, and the way you two work together and the way the whole track comes together was really a magical experience.
It was a great song. I mean, most of this album, as far as arrangements, they sort of came together in the studio.
Did you play the whole thing live at the time, or was it over?
Yeah, no, it was all...
No overdubbed?
No, well, I mean, there might have been acoustic guitar, but basic rhythm sections were Pat, Sandy, Trevor, myself, Gerry, all together.
Is that how you mainly worked in the studio?
In those days, everything was like that. I mean, this is 16 years ago. People never thought not to place everything down together. It was only with the advent of the drum machine and sort of ever-expanding equipment that people started to single things out, and they started saying, well, if I put this drum track down, I can then sit and listen to what the bass player's playing and do everything individually, which is fine, and I think most records are made that way these days, but in those days it was get a feeling, and if there were some bum notes or if there was a little something that wasn't quite right, it didn't really matter as long as the feel was good, and that was all it was, you know. It was not an engineered feel, it was it just happened.
So you prefer to work that way?
Well, if you're with the right players, yes. I mean, most of the sessions I do today, I'm usually the last person to go on, which doesn't seem right somehow. But that's what happens, is they put a drum machine down and people come in when they can, Yeah, I mean, it's nice to play like that. And in some ways, I think people are growing a little weary of machines, and people are taking more to the other way of doing things, you know. I mean, it'll never go back in time to that. I mean, Pat and I used to do sessions with a full orchestra, the works, you know, I mean, sort of 35, 40 people in there. which is sort of unheard of now.
The tracks that you recorded for this album, you also recorded later in that year some more tracks for another album. Do you remember how many tracks you recorded, how close that album was to being finished?
I think we did about 4 or 5 tracks.
So the ones that are on the box set, the Sandy Denny box set, it's just about all of them now. 2 weeks last summer.
Late last November. Yeah.
And Gypsy Davy.
And also a version of Silver Threads and Golden Needles.
Right, that later came on Rendezvous.
Yeah. But I mean, what happens if we started the record and one morning we sort of got the message that the group was no more, and that it was, I think it was Sandy's manager just didn't feel that the group was right for her, and so it was all sort of thrown to bits, you know. I mean, we were destroyed because we enjoyed the band so much, and everybody that was in the band is still more than good friends, and you know, it was an experience. It was a happy period for everybody. But Sandy was sort of winning Melody Maker polls for 2 or 3 years in a row, and I guess we just said, well, solo career. But really, all that happened is she became the solo artist, but we continued to play on the records, which didn't make any sense anyway. Yeah. But we sort of voted to disband rather than carry on as we were.
Yeah.
And
must have been really sad for her.
Yeah.
That record was the beginning of something really.
Yes.
Really important.
Yeah.
It's very sad that it never went anywhere.
Yeah. Pat, Gerry and myself tried to stay together as a rhythm section, you know, for obvious reasons, but eventually something always gets in the way, and I just get booked, or Pat would just get booked for something, and sort of force of life, you know. And eventually I got booked on a Cat Stevens record, and sort of things went from there.